Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and it is Wednesday morning. Time to get you caught up on Raid Shadow Legends because we have got a lot of new things hitting the game. As you can see here in the news tab, we've got the new update 4.90 finally hitting the live server. Some super raids that are going to be live over the next few days, and Vildrax, the new Fragment event that they are going to be slipping in there in between Halloween and Christmas, is going to be live today. So I'll give you my full thoughts on him as a champion. And then we've also got these new champions right here, the new legendaries that are hitting the game as well, and I believe one of them is an epic actually. But anyway, I will get you full context on everything you need to know as we head into the middle of the week. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so first of all, obviously we've got the launch of the Vildrax Fusion. Now remember, this is an epic, not a legendary, so the events should be a little bit easier in terms of earning fragments. It shouldn't be as crazy as a legendary, so we got to keep that in mind as we are grading the champion. But we're going to find him under the index and then going under the demon spawn section right here, and then Vildrax is on the top row right here. And then to give you my thoughts on him as a champion, I am going to work on getting you a dedicated video about this guy in terms of grading him fully and showing him in action and building him and talking about all of that. But just kind of my initial impression of him after testing him on the test server, I did have a fully maxed out version of Vildrax. He takes 17 books, which is super unfortunate. You've got the 8 on the A1, which is very sad. Then you've got +4 is 12, +3 is 15, and then a couple on the passive makes 17 epic books. So way too many books to have a good book value on him as a champion. And what they're doing is trying to release champions that are going to be coinciding with the Hex mechanic, because the Hex debuff actually doesn't do anything on its own. A lot of people ask that question. The Hex debuff is just there to unlock abilities that have bonus effects to them that pair with Hex, but Hex itself doesn't actually do anything. It's just there to unlock things, like when hitting enemies under a Hex debuff, also a 60% chance to put one of their skills on cooldown. So Hex just unlocks other things. So I mean, in terms of being an epic champion who works with Hex, I mean, he does have 2 AoE abilities, but he's not a damage dealer. He's got 738 base attack, and he scales with attack, so you're not going to be building this guy to do damage. But he is a candidate for like a stun set with the 2 AoEs and the multi-hitter A1, and then you got a 3-turn cooldown, and then this one books to a 4. Not ideal, but in terms of being an epic champion to be released to work with Hex, he's all right. And I would say to go for the fragments, as long as it's realistic to do so for you. I wouldn't lose sleep over it or spend a bunch of money, but if you can get the champion, why not? I would definitely recommend doing that. You never know when you're going to want to unlock and build a Hex team, so if you can, go for Vildrax for sure. And obviously, the big feature of 4.90, the Guardian Ring, as you see over here, is live. It is basically the sparring pit that has been converted to have other things added to it, so it's not just the sparring pit. When you click on it, you have the default sparring pit view, but then you also have the other tabs here for the faction guardians, empowering, unbinding, and the token traders. So just your quick, too long didn't watch explanation. The faction guardians, this is where you're going to put champions in that are duplicates to unlock power of each individual rarity. A common misconception is that all of the rarities contribute to the whole faction. That's not how it works. When you put in rare champions, that only applies bonus stats to your rare champions. The epics only apply to epics, and the legendary bonuses only apply to legendaries. It's not just a faction-wide sweeping stat. It's only going to be for that rarity. So when I put in my 2 legendaries here, when I put in 2 Killians, I'm getting 10% more HP for only my legendaries in Bannerlords. The epics and the rares, uncommons, all of them are unaffected. And you can also empower champions by using a duplicate to get some bonus stats. If you click on the eye up here on the top left, you get a nice breakdown of everything they do. The level 1, 2, 3, 4 is the maximum. You can see there the total bonuses are the 40% of each base stat, the 55 accuracy and resistance, 15 speed, and then 30 crit damage and 10% crit rate is the maximum bonus that you can get on a champion. And then over on the basics tab, the champions that do not have the possibility to get duplicates of, it's going to show you which champion is a substitute to empower them instead of the duplicate. And one thing that is worth noting, on the bottom right in this blank space, they don't have Ramantu. Ramantu is the mission champion that you get after Arbiter. You continue doing missions, and then way down the road, you get Ramantu, the Lizardman, but he's not on here for some reason. So I don't know if they're going to add him or what they're going to do there, but I would have expected him because you can't pull him in shards. So it is kind of surprising that he's not on there. Then Unbinding Champions is going to be where you take a duplicate legendary that you're not going to use on your account. Maybe you don't need it for Faction Guardians, all that stuff. And then you are going to go ahead and trade it in for these life tokens. It's going to take the legendary off of your account and give you 500 life tokens in return. Another question that people have is, doesn't matter if it's a Void Lego or not. It doesn't matter. You're going to get 500 no matter what the legendary is, which is unfortunate. Void Legos should have been worth 1,000 or something, I think. But anyway, it's 500 no matter which one. And then under the token trader, they're going to have different champions that you can trade in those life tokens. So it's basically you take this number divided by 500, and that's how many legendaries you would have to trade in, how many duplicate legendaries you would have to trade in to get that champion. So we would need to trade in 5 legendaries to get a Manaya. We would need to trade in 8 to get a Sir Nick, because you take 4,000 divided by 500 and you get 8. So yeah, the token trader I think is the most unfortunate part of the whole system. Honestly, I don't think it's going to see much use. But if you want more context on the Guardian Ring and all of this new stuff coming into the game, I did a really fun collab with Darth Micro, Cold Brew, Jay Giggs, and Deadwood Jedi. I'll try to remember to link up there if you want to see our full 45-minute breakdown talking about our different opinions on all of these different features. And important to note that some of the other things that Plarium teased are actually going to be coming down the road. The things like the Hydra, and you can see here they talked about being able to use XP brews on a sliding scale where you don't have to put them individually like this. It is still like this. It's still the old-fashioned way. Some of those other quality of life stuff and the Hydra are going to be coming at a later date, and they weren't part of the Guardian Ring duplicate system, which was kind of the focus of the 4.90 patch. Plarium also did send out a gift of 500 life tokens, so make sure you are logging in to claim that, because it does expire in 6 days. I'm sure most of you are going to play sometime within the next 6 days, but it was worth noting that the Plarium did send out 500 tokens as a gift, so you're going to want to make sure you claim that. And I promised I would give you a quick little rundown of the 4 new champions. Urticata is the epic, the other 3 are legendaries. Urticata's, I mean, alright. She's kind of a poisoner that's going to be pairing with Hex. You got poison all over the kit, poison sensitivity, and then you've got Hex here on the A3 with an all battle speed aura. I mean, so, like, I mean, she's alright. I don't think it's anything to get super excited about, but she'll be an alright epic option for some of those Hex teams. Then for the 3 legendaries, first we'll stay in the demon spawn and go over Wither the Crowned. Wither's going to be a decent progression support. Does some fun things. You've got the AoE A1, which is always nice on a support champion, kind of similar to Bad Alcazar. We're going to get a leech on all things, which is good because it's going to help your team kind of get a pseudo lifesteal set. And you also get some continuous heals and increased defense on a 3-turn cooldown when booked, and increasing the duration of continuous heals. So if you pair her with anybody else who heals, you're going to get a lot of sustain. You're going to get a 3-turn cleanse that is also a pretty decent heal on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. So yeah, she's got some fun utility in terms of helping you progress, and some pretty solid base stats as well, with the 108 base speed and 24k HP. So yeah, she's not going to be like a Platinum Arena god to your champion or anything, but a pretty decent progression champion. And then there was a couple new legendaries for the Shadowkin, so obviously they're really trying to get this faction really filled up and get lots of champions out, because we're going to be seeing the faction wars for this faction go live sometime within the next 6 to 10 weeks, somewhere in there. We're going to get Shadowkin added to the game as a requirement to get Lydia the Death Siren. So they're adding a couple more legendaries here. First, we've got Kyoku, who is going to be a tanky, sturdy defense scaling champion that's going to have ally protection and then AoE decreased attack. So really going to help the tankiness of your team. But worth noting, which one's weird here? Yes, the A2. So worth noting that this ability here, the first part's normal, the AoE decreased attack, and that can book up to 100%. That's fine. But then it says after attacking has an 80% chance of placing an HP burn for 2 turns on all enemies that this skill did not place a decreased attack. She's a legendary. Why, like, she wouldn't be broken if she just did AoE HP burn. I don't understand why that's like that, why that's worded like that, but it is definitely a deterrent to kind of assessing her kit, because if her kit was just the first part, it's a 4-turn cooldown AoE decreased attack. That would be pretty bad on a legendary. At least make that 3-turn cooldown when booked. If it's going to be 4-turn, it needs to just place the AoE HP burn. Even then, it wouldn't be broken or anything. So I don't know why that is like that. She's a pretty solid champion besides that, though. The ally protection here is pretty crazy to get the block, the ally protection on all allies, and then the block damage on her. So she's basically just mitigating and disappearing that damage, and it places it for 3 turns and grants an extra turn. So she can actually snowball pretty well and get a lot of abilities off, but it is super weird that this ability on the A2 is worded like that. So I don't know if that was intentional or if it's going to stay like that, but if it does, it's kind of unfortunate because it would have been cool if she was kind of a support that also did the AoE HP burn to pair with other things. And then the last one of the 4 new champions is Gamaran. And the cool thing about Gamaran is this A3 right here can target dead or living enemies. That is something that we have never seen before, and it's super cool. You can kind of pick somebody out and block revive, and then it says if you target someone who is alive, we're going to place a true fear on them for 2 turns and heal all allies based on the target's max HP. So he's got a lot of very interesting mechanics, and if you're going up against revivers and things like that in the arena, some of those super annoying teams with a double revive, like Duchess, Arbiter, and they're just really tough to kill. They've got a lot of defense and revives. He could kind of make sense in a team like that, where you're in a scenario like tag team arena or something. So definitely an interesting champion. It's a little bit early to say if he'll be insane or not. He does AoE steal buff on a 3-turn cooldown, which is pretty cool. I think he will have some utility. It's just tough to say if he's like S tier, A tier, B tier, but he at least brings something new to the game and kind of a fun kit here. Then as we dive into the tournaments and events, under the tournaments tab, we're going to have a couple things going on right now for the Vildrax Epic Champion Fragments, and you're going to want to make sure to get to 2050 here in the Spider Tournament, and then you've also got some bonus ones up there. Now, I expect these to be a lot easier and a lot less contested than a Legendary, like when they did Vlad, and it's a Void Legendary everybody's going to be going crazy for and trying to get done. I expect people not to be going near as hard for Vildrax, but I would recommend going for it if you can, and I'm going to try to get you guys a planner built that I can link in all my videos over the next 2 weeks, so you can pull it up whenever you would like. Then we've also got champion training. You're going to want to make sure you get to 4225, and along the way you'll get some bonus core hammers, which is always nice. And then after that, you can feel free to kind of stop and save your resources. There's no legendary book up there, which is unfortunate. They should have had this go to like 7,000 and be a legendary book with like a void shard or something. But anyway, just get to 4225 and you should be good. And then right now, actually, there are no events live. You can see over on the right side, this is actually super rare nowadays in Raid. There's always tournaments and events live, but right now it is just tournaments going on. The couple things for the Vildrax Fragment event, and then it's just the offers. There is no event live, but worth noting that CVC is going to be wrapping up today, so make sure you're focusing on getting whatever you wanted booked or developed and stuff like that to double dip your points for your clan and scoop up some of those tiered rewards that your clan can get to claim. And then we'll be getting the next CVC about 13 days from now on Tuesday, December 7th, as long as Plarium goes with the normal rotation that they seem to be sticking to with CVC. And also today, we're going to hit 1 week left on the Doom Tower. So it's time to start pushing. It's time to start focusing on those secret rooms. Get as many fragments as you can. And if you want to see quickly the team that I used for the final boss to full auto it, this is what I used. If you don't have Duchess, you would use something like a Jareg, just something to kind of provide some toughness for the team. And Jareg also brings decreased attack. So decreased attack is very good on this boss, which is why I'm using Padma right there. Drexstar, amazing on this boss as well. But I do have a dedicated video on the Eternal Dragon and the final boss on this Doom Tower that I'll try to remember to link over there if you want to see the full breakdown of this boss. But yeah, 1 week left on the Doom Tower, so a good time to really start pushing to get as many rooms done as possible. And now as we pop in to do the offers, I did finally get the spreadsheet updated a little bit, and now the Chosen's purchase price is showing up again. That was bugged for a little bit, and I didn't even notice. I always just kind of look at the score. But now the spreadsheet should be functioning as originally intended. The Black Friday pack doesn't grade out too well, so I'm not going to plug in the whole thing again because it's been here for like a week at this point, but it's not worth buying in my opinion. The Cyber Week deal, if some of you want to see that plugged in, I'll go ahead and do it for you, but this also was not that great if I remember right. So we're going to go 4 refills. Okay, and then we're going to go with 30 XP Baroos. And we're going to get 2 Sacreds and 5 Voids. Boom. So I've got a fair purchase price for myself at $30, which means when it's priced at $50, it is not going to be very good, in my opinion. The chained offers. So this one is, it's not even showing us the other links. 3 for 15 is a decent starting point on Voids. It's not amazing. But let's go ahead and get you the first link of the chain plugged in here. I'm not going to know the other ones, but 300 gems. and then 3 of the void shards, and boom is 1.7. So okay, yeah, not great. I don't know if I would go down the rabbit hole on that one. I thought that would grade out a little bit better, but doesn't look like it. Rare tomes. This is an interesting one. We've got 40, and then let's go with 5 million. That's nice. I like that. And then 2,000 gems. It's got potential. And then 80 rare tomes. So, yeah, this actually grades out. Okay, so I would say for, now this is the Black Friday pack, by the way. If I put away the offer sheet, you can see up there, it says the Black Friday pack. So, yeah, like for a new player who spends a good amount of money on raid, this actually makes decent sense. You get a good chunk of silver and some gems, and then a lot of rare tomes to develop. That's enough to develop like 7, 8 rares, 6 to 8, depending on the one that you depending on the ones that you're spending them on. So yeah, I could see it for a high spender new player. This could be a decent pack that grades out pretty well. Then the monthly pack, that usually grades out as about a 2.5 and is a decent one there. The mini mix, okay. $40 for Immortal gear is way too expensive. And then this is the Thanksgiving pack. So this one will be interesting as well. This one's also 40 with only 400K. Obviously, it's going to be a bunch of the food here in honor of Thanksgiving. No surprises there. So we've got 8 of the 3-star chicken, and then 8 of the 4-star chicken, and 8 of the 5-star chicken. Grades out as a 1.71. This should be like 25 bucks instead of 40 in terms of how I would value it. And why didn't they throw a feast in there? Come on. Come on, it's a Thanksgiving pack. Throw a feast in there. What are we doing here? If they would have thrown a feast in there, now we're talking. See? Now it's got a fair purchase price of 40 bucks. That's what it should have been. Throw a feast in there. It's a Thanksgiving pack. But that would have made so much more sense. Missed opportunity there to promote one of your new items in game. The feast should have been obviously kind of coinciding with the Thanksgiving Day pack. That would have made perfect sense. But anyway, the way that I don't want to deceive you, so let me delete that. Okay, so this is what the offer actually is, and it's not worth it in my opinion. So that is going to mostly do it for what I wanted to make sure and get covered for you here as we enter the middle of the week. Make sure and let me know down below what you think about some of these new mechanics to the game. I will obviously be talking about how the community feels about things in future videos, and I love hearing your feedback as well in terms of how you're perceiving these as good or bad for the game and all of that. I love to soak in that knowledge and be able to talk about how the community feels on topics like things launching like this in game. There is also a new gacha game called Awakened Chaos Era that I think has a lot of potential. I don't think it's ever going to be Raid or Summoner's War or anything, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, but I do think it's going to be a really good kind of mid-level game, kind of like a Dragon Champions and stuff like that. So it's always fun to see new games launching and try them out to see if they're any good. So I'm sure I'll be playing that a little bit, and I might do a video once every 2 or 3 weeks on it or something just to keep you in the loop of new stuff going on. But yeah, I'm going to head on over to stream where I'll be streaming all of this new stuff, and we might try out that new game and see what that looks like and see if it's any good. So if you want to stop by and say hi, I will have a link down below to the Twitch stream where I'll be live for the next few hours hanging out with all of you. But otherwise, as always, thank you for watching and have a good rest of your week. Peace.